Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast, where we discuss and analyze your favorite marble sports. From JMR Marble League to I'll Go Do tournaments, we'll make sure you never miss the action. All marble sports, all the time, right here on the MSW Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Commander Wolf.
And I have to say this. I have to start today by saying this. I think salted chocolate is just the worst thing on the planet. I think it's the worst thing on the planet. So I had this thing, like, for Christmas, someone got me this penguin-shaped thing, and there's, like, a bunch of chocolate in it. It's, like, a bunch of different types of chocolate. There was some really good ones, too. There was, like, coconut, and, like, one that had, like, a vanilla cream in it. It was amazing. But there was this one type in there that it was just milk chocolate, which was like, ooh, milk chocolate, but it was, like with salt, and I'm like, ew, that can't be good. And it's totally not good. And I've seen this before, and I just don't understand it because people, and I put like a poll out somewhere on like one of my YouTube things, and I was like, salt chocolate or not salted chocolate. And like, there's like a good amount of people who think it's like genuinely a good tasting chocolate. And I just don't understand it. It tastes terrible. It tastes like putting salt on a cake, you know? I mean, it doesn't fit. So I don't know. I hate salted chocolate. I don't understand it. If you really like it, I just have to understand why. Tell me why you would ever enjoy that. But I personally think it's like one of the worst things on the planet. Like worse than. Okay, I'm not even gonna say what was in my head. That was way too far. Okay,
oh my gosh.
Whatever I was gonna say is not for this show. Okay.
Oh jeez. I don't think I've ever had salted chocolate. To my memory. I have had chocolate milk that is salted, and salt can add nice flavor to chocolate milk. My favorite chocolate milk was like the Hershey's chocolate milk mix that they don't make anymore, and one of the ingredients was sodium. And I tried recreating it with some recipes I found online, and salt is one of the ingredients, and it does add that nice little zest, I guess is the word to it. Like it adds, like, salt with chocolate milk can work. I have not tried milk with salt with just chocolate in general though, so I can't really comment on it.
And like salt, usually when you're baking something or making sweets, like salt is a little bit in there. Like you have like every time you make like cake or something, you put like half a teaspoon whatever of salt. I just but that's just a little bit to like add that flavor. But when you like really salt the chocolate, like you'd salt a peanut, it just tastes awful. It's like it literally is my least favorite thing. Like right now in this moment, it is my least favorite thing. Like even worse than like people who drive 20 miles per hour on the highway. I just can't. I can't with salted chocolate. So if you like salted chocolate, you're probably like an Oceanics fan, but not a Limers. I'm a Limers fan, so I can't say that. Probably a Minty ManiaX fan. Let's be honest. Those people are weird. So, wouldn't the Mini ManiaX fans like the mint chocolate? Whatever.
Yes.
Shut up. Also, people don't like shredded coconut, and I don't understand that either, because I think coconut's really good, but most people don't actually like the coconut, so I don't get that either. But, hey, mswpodcast@gmail.com. Just thought I'd plug that now. You can email us about marbles or about chocolate and with salt on it. Either way, I just don't get it. It just doesn't make it taste whatever. Okay, Waff. Anything more interesting than that?
No, I can't really think of anything to talk about. So,
like without the salt, it's just so it's just good. Like it's so good. Sorry, Waff. Without the salt, it's just so good. That like why would you even try it out with the salt on? Since without salt, milk chocolate is just so good already. Like it's just a perfect like square of milk chocolate. You eat it, you're like, wow, I'm glad that someone came up with this. And then that's it. And then like there's no reason to even have tried it with the salt. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not like it was at first, and then you're like, well, maybe we'll try the salt and see if it's good. No, it was perfect without the salt. There was not even, the thought should not even crossed anybody's mind. Again, Waff, sorry, that you should even put the salt on it. Waff, anyway, go ahead.
No, I don't have anything. I don't think, especially nothing to.
I mean, who would do
top your
that?
Insanity.
Who would put the salt? I just don't get. Don't put salt on chocolate. If you put salt on chocolate, just I don't want to. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear from you. Waff, anything?
I guess like I beat the main story for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond recently, and the final battle was really good. They made it harder than any Pokemon game. It's actually like you get to think about it. So if you're a long time Pokemon fan, or if you're someone who's dropped off from it, the game is very easy up to the final battle, just because they have that experience share turned on the entire time. But the final battle is actually really difficult. So, there's some fun there. That's all I got.
All right. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Unfortunately, I have nothing interesting to top that. But again, we appreciate you dominating the intro, as you always do.
I feel like you dominated with your insane rant about salt.
That was the joke, Waff. Anyways, we have a pretty fun episode coming up today, and we got a guest, and so let's go do that. Intro is over, and now we go news. Bye.
Well, hello, Marble Sports fans! I'm Commander Wolf here with the Marble Sports Worldwide News. There's quite a bit to cover, so let's not waste any time. Event 2 of Marble ManiaX, Domino Bowling, was far more extreme than I could have ever imagined, as the competitors rolled from the top of a tower, through a loop-de-loop, and flew through the air before crashing into several dominoes with varying point values. The gap in the final results was truly staggering, as the Pinkies dominated with 150 points in first, while the Purple Rockets earned second with only 106, and the Constrictors claimed third with 90. Perhaps even more surprising is the Balls of Chaos, who finished last with -8 points. The hosts have been really struggling so far, but perhaps they can make a comeback in the last 3 events. Next up, we have 2 new races from NASMARB. First up is the Lightspeed 400 at Hyper Speedway, and it ran the racers through the ringer, with several of them falling off the track, spinning out, or rolling onto their hoods. Spitzer once again didn't make it out of the group round, and Quillo only managed to make it to the final 12. But let's not dwell on the negatives, and instead focus on the incredible racing from the other competitors. Piper continued to dominate the track into the final 6, and was about to become the first racer in NASMARB history to have back-to-back finals appearances. But Jack Tato had an incredible recovery and managed to shut down that dream. A similar situation happened between Bloodstorm and Lamone Drizel, only this time it was the reverse, with Drizel making a massive comeback to achieve what Piper could not, and became the first racer to make a repeat finals appearance. The final race was especially intense, with Jack Tato and Earl struggling to keep the race alive. But in the end, Drizel pulled out a very close victory in the 8th run, defending their title as the champion of the Lightspeed 400 and becoming the second driver to win multiple races in their career. Jack Tato and Earl then had a tiebreaker race to determine the last podium spots, with Jack Tato ultimately taking second and Earl claiming third. And finally, we have the Red Mug 500 at the DDT International Speedway. This race was also very exciting with how unpredictable it could be. The biggest example was in the final 12, where it looked like Prime's victory was assured, only for one of their axles to break in the final stretch, allowing Nugget to pass and claim victory. In regards to MSW, Quillo didn't qualify for the race this time, but Spitzer really stepped it up and achieved their 3rd Final 6 appearance in their career. While they did get swept by Steve, they still achieved 4th in the consolation race, so congratulations to them, and keep it up, my guy. The final run was incredibly one-sided, as Jack Tato started out with 2 back-to-back wins. Steve managed to break the streak once, but after that, Jack Tato got another 2-win streak to take home first, followed by Steve with 2nd and Electro with 3rd. NASMARB will be going on a 1-week hiatus to give the team at MSPN some rest, so look forward to their return in 2 weeks' time. Whew. And that's everything. Thanks for sticking with me, everybody. I'm Commander Wolf. You are the best fans in the world. Let's kick it on back with the podcast.
We are back from the news. Thank you, I guess, Waff, again, for doing the news. Actually, that job is still open. So if you want to do the news, you can always do the news. It's really easy. It's like 2 minutes of talking, and then you just get to be in the episode. So open job. Again, I have no idea what happened to Johnny Marble. He was like gone as quick as he appeared. He appeared out of nowhere. He left into nowhere. So
yeah. You still haven't heard back from him?
No, he just went into the stratosphere, man. And I guess he just woke up one week and he was like, you know what? I don't really care anymore about marbles. And well, I mean, that's how a lot of people leave the community, I guess. So
I guess.
Yeah. But anyway, but to the main topic, salted chocolate. Don't do that. It's
oh my gosh,
it's terrible.
Again.
There's no way that anyone can like seriously say they enjoy that more than the normal. There's no way that people would enjoy that more than the normal thing. To prove that, I'm going to ask our guest we have today. Today's guest is JM, and I'm going to ask him. I did not tell him what to answer to this question. I'm just going to prove easy point.
I like salted chocolate.
I hate this. I hate this show. I hate everything about this show. Screw you and your stupid vest, JM.
Look, okay, look. When my girlfriend and I sat down to celebrate New Year's together, I went out and I picked her up a thing of salted chocolate with like caramel stuffed inside and rosé champagne. I like salted chocolate.
That's cute. That is, I will give you that. That's cute. But salted chocolate. I mean, next thing you're gonna say you're a mini ManiaX fan, right? Is that what's coming?
No, actually, I didn't write it down. Who's that green team? The new green team in Marble ManiaX?
Noxious Ivy?
Yes. Holy cow. I'm a huge fan. They're my marble. They literally look like my marble. I love them.
They do. Yeah, wait, let me
them.
see. I don't know if I have a JM marble here. Can you wait. Do I have JM?
It's one of the emotes in Discord. Hang on.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Someone send me the PNG though, because I'm gonna try to throw it up on the stream at some point so you guys can see it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll find it for you.
Yeah,
his marble. His marble looks exceptional. It does look like the Noxious Ivy, which is.
Yeah, they're awesome. I love them. They perform so like not super well, but like I've never been a big fan of the top performers. My other team is Crazy Cat's Eyes, so like.
Well, I like the Crazy Cat's Eyes, and they were quite good this year. I mean, of course they destroyed it in Marbula 1 Season 2. I mean that's got to be big for you because like
that was big for me because I really like the Marbula 1 event as well. Yeah,
and like they came out and okay, it is hard in any situation. It is hard in any situation to be substantially more dominant than even the Savage Beaters. It just doesn't matter. Like, it's very hard to do that. So when you come out and the Savage Beaters become immaterial because of how good you are, that's like very, very impressive. So, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, one of the biggest upsets. No one was really expecting them to be that good, but I mean, I was stunned by how they came out in Marbula 1. It was they were like the Savage Beaters for that season. I mean, I think, and then they did actually pretty well in the following Marble League. So, I mean, they might be finally as a veteran team that've been around a while coming out as one of the best teams. So that's exciting, especially for me. I'm a Cat's Eyes fan too.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's a big day for Cat's Eyes households.
Anyways, I got the marble picture. I just wanted to put it up on the stream before we get too far into this because it's just so cool. How do I?
So
God,
darn.
this is gonna take me. You guys are just gonna have to sit here while I do this. All right. Oh, there we go.
Shout out to Jack Ironhide again for making pretty much all of our official artwork Like, absolute legend.
Oh, shout out to him because he also does the thumb. Okay, so I do a series on my other channel, and he does all the thumbnails for those, and he just does a great job.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
So it's on the stream now. You guys can see it. It looks great. It looks just so cool. So and it does look like Noxious.
It does look similar to Noxious Ivy.
Yeah, now I feel the need to like kind of be a fan of that team just because it kind of does represent JM pretty well.
Yeah, I kind of feel that too.
All right. Well, today we got Marble ManiaX Domino Bowling to talk about. I do want to point out before we get into this that I am very disappointed to see that the viewership on that video is pretty low compared to your average JMR video. It's been like a day and they're about still under 30K views, which, I mean, it's scary. It's scary to see that from the channel because this channel... I mean, when was the last time that has been even the case? Except when it was one of those... I mean, even the Marble Machine videos he posts usually do better. So I don't know if that's meaning anything for the future of the channel and we're just on a big downturn, or if it's just the fact that this is a new series and people are like, oh, well, this is not Marble League, so I can't watch this. But, I mean, I don't know what you guys think about it, but that's worrisome because that is... I mean, of course, I would flip out if one of my videos ever got 30,000 views. For JMR, that's low. So, I mean, should we be worried? Should we be worried is probably my first question here about JMR really actually being on the decline.
I guess I'll start us off here. I'm not really sure. Like, I feel like the main reason for why it's got the low viewership it does, and like this is kind of just continuing what I've heard from the Let It Roll podcast, but it's basically like, aside from the really dedicated fans who are just paying attention to social media heavily, the build-up to Marble ManiaX was almost non-existent, especially on YouTube. So there was no like really big hype building for the series. There was hype for the teams mostly on Twitter and not necessarily for the events itself. So people didn't know what to expect, and even to know that it was coming, really. So I feel like the performance of Marble Maniacs is kind of more due to poor promotion. Hopefully that doesn't discourage them they realize that it doesn't discourage them from doing it again, because I've honestly been enjoying it, and I think that I would actually love to see it back. But I don't think it's necessarily an indication of a decline of JMR as a whole.
I'll say it doesn't look like they're bleeding subscribers at all. It looks like they're maintaining pretty like a pretty consistent like 1.3 million subscribers. So that says to me that either the YouTube algorithm isn't placing it in people's feeds, like combined with the fact that they're probably not marketing it as well as they should be.
That is a good point to bring up. The YouTube algorithm has always been very fickle. It doesn't favor one group for too long. Like, unless you're massively mainstream. Like, I don't even know if it's still I don't know if it like promotes like Fortnite as much as it used to, or if that's also a passing trend for YouTube's algorithm. But like, definitely for marble racing, like it skyrocketed for during COVID when people were at home all the time. Well, when it had that time on ESPN.
And it was. Oh, sorry. Finish your thought. Sorry.
It's okay. I was just saying. I think this could just be the trend past, and with it dying down, that YouTube really is just not promoting it as much as it used to.
Yeah, listen, first of all, I don't understand that. I don't know why YouTube would do that. I mean, if people like this thing a lot, especially if it's new, like, I mean, I know the algorithm is like electronic based, so it's like it doesn't really think for itself as much as it could. But I mean, we're talking something that's not just enjoyed by viewers, but we're talking something that's relatively new. There's not not many other Marble channels that you can push through, and not any that are like JMR. So you're talking about something that's like unique. So it's not like, oh, we're pushing this Fortnite channel and there's a million others that pretty much do the same thing, so we can kind of lay off after a little bit and we'll just start pushing something else or some other channel. Like, no, we're like, this is the only one. There is no other even close to JMR right now, if I'm honest. So it just feels weird to me that like that would stop being promoted. Very good English there.
Well,
it just doesn't make sense.
I think it has less to do with JMR's quality and more to do with the trend of marble racing or marble sports as a whole is not trending as popular as it was a few months back or even a year ago.
Yeah, and the videos that exploded that like they got featured on ESPN and they were getting shared around a bunch on Twitter, right? Like that's how that's how things burst out. A lot of times these days is like they go viral on Twitter and it's this big flashes of popularity before they die down as people move on to other things.
Yeah, that's true. And like the one that exploded was a random sand marble rally race, just one in the middle from like 2 years prior,
which is odd,
like in 2018. It was just completely random. There was no real reason why. I don't even remember. Does anybody remember why that video exploded? Because I sure
on
don't.
Twitter with comment. I mean, something like that. Like it was just somehow some people who I guess are important on Twitter got a hold of that particular one, and liked a certain marble, and then it was like hashtag comment or something like that for a while. It was really random. It was really just happened to be that video that was seen. It was like lucky, but I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just, everything has its time, but it does seem, I guess, just the lack of retention going like we're really down compared to like I guess when it was a lot more popular seems just not like a good thing to me. You'd wish you could stay at least over 100K for a channel that has like 1.5 million subs. You usually can stay over 100K. I know channels who have like 400K and all their videos, even if they're not even good videos, get consistently like 100K or so. So it's just it's weird how much like that fluctuates in the JMR world.
Yeah, their Patreon's still looking healthy, so I don't think they're hurting for like cash. They're just hurting a little bit on money. Or they're not hurting on cash. Their YouTube's just hurting on views a little bit. So
you know what? Maybe they'll turn around again. I also heard something weird because when I started working for that Hot Wheels channel, this was over a year ago at this point. I started working for them, and then like at the fall, he just says to me, "Yeah, so for the next few months, we don't want you to do this." This was like last year. Now, like, it doesn't matter. I'm always working for him because the commentary really doesn't make a difference in his videos. But like for this one group of a few months, he was like, "Yeah, we just don't need you for the next few months because the algorithm is always." He said always, and he's been doing this for years, I guess, always shitty for these few months for this particular content, and then it always comes back in the spring for Hot Wheels racing, and that was like confusing to me. I was like, because he's been doing it for a while to notice that, but it's like weird that like that becomes a weird seasonal thing. Like the algorithm like very consistently dips down on things and then dips up on things in like different parts of the year.
Oh yeah. You just remind me of that. It's January. January is terrible for videos.
But like, it's got to be good for some videos, right?
Like, it's good for some. I can remember, like for a reason, AdSense on videos is really bad in January. So a lot of channels, especially ones that make their living on YouTube, just don't make stuff during this month because it's almost not worth the effort.
Interesting. Okay, well that might be part of it.
I wonder if that's companies like starting to try to figure out like their new fiscal year. Or I think the new quarter starts in February, if my memory serves me right. So January might be companies laying off like a bunch of advertisements while they get in like all the marketing information for where they want to spend their money in the next month.
Yeah, apparently the quarter starts in the 1st of January. So,
oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That would explain it too. Then I think.
I mean, fair enough.
I think it's something like that.
Yeah, but I guess it really matters what it looks like toward. It seems like the spring and the summer are always the most, which is why JMR went from a Winter Marble League to a spring summer one, which because that's where you're gonna get the most attention, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I just found that weird and just wanted to talk about that, put that out there. And I mean, again, Marble Sports. We're playing the long game here when we come to Marble Sports because this is not something we want to be popular for a year and then die away. We want this to become a sport. Well, I want this to become a sport. I want this to be a real recognized sport by the time I die or whatever. Or by the time I'm halfway dead. I guess 40. Like, so it's the long game, and hopefully it keeps on going. Let's hit a couple emails, and then we will dive into the actual event itself. Here, let's get
All right.
So we got a couple emails that were submitted. Remember, mswpodcast@gmail.com. I mean, if you listen weekly, I mean, you know the email at this point, because I say it every time, like 4 times. So email us. Say anything. This guy emails.
What's the email?
I'm gonna defer to Waff on this one.
mswpodcast@gmail.com.
There we go.
Put
Thanks,
a little
guys.
flair on that. Yeah, just in case you missed out on it. mswpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go.
Hey, the King DJ 2010 sends an email. He didn't send an email. No, he didn't actually send an email. He put the whole thing in the subject. By the way, he didn't. The email is empty. There is nothing there. It's literally blank. They didn't put this up on the camera. Wait. Can I put this? Oh my
gosh, Brendan.
All right, this
Don't make sure not to show someone's email
address. It is empty here. The whole shit is in the subject of the email, okay? But anyway, thanks, the King. It was funny. He says, I just think that's so funny. He didn't even put anything. He didn't even put one word in the body of the email. All right. Do you think one of the new teams from Marble ManiaX could succeed in the Marble League or M1? Well, that's a fun question. I'll start. So, well, you have to start with a few other questions. Of course, first off, are those teams even going to be able to compete in those competitions? We don't know if those new teams, are going to be the ones that are going to also have chances in the new in the coming tournaments, or if it's just going to be those stay as Marble ManiaX teams. So I'd say that once that question's answered, then this question becomes more relevant. But honestly, based on the performance, I mean, these teams are going up against Balls of Chaos. I mean, really, that is the only relevant team in the Marble ManiaX. Now that I think about it, but still, Balls of Chaos is a solid team. Most people would say that they would be middle to above average as a overall team in the JMR environment. So, I mean, I would say the fact that these teams are not just competing with the Balls of Chaos, but normally actually beating the Balls of Chaos pretty well, that overall, these teams could probably compete pretty well in M1 and in Marble ManiaX. It seems like wherever these teams came from...
You mean in Marble League?
Yeah, Marble League. You know what I mean. So marbles, okay? These teams, wherever they came from, and Stimps, get on that lore, by the way. I don't know where these teams came from. I mean, that's up to you and Adu and whoever else does the project. That's up to you guys, so you guys gotta tell us. Noxious Ivy comes from, the Jungle Jumpers basement. I don't know. But it's... Wherever they came from, they seem to have a lot of practice, a lot of skill, a lot of discipline, and you see that in the events so far. So yeah, I think they could compete if they are allowed to compete in those tournaments.
Yeah, I guess assuming that they are able to make it in, I would say that for Marble League, they have a decent chance just because these events are related to stuff that kind of similar to it. I can't really say anything about M1 because M1 is a different beast. They haven't really raced yet. They've just been competing in events that involve jumping and accuracy and stuff and coordination, but nothing that has really to do with just being very fast and taking tight turns.
That's fair, and I hope we do get to see some sort of racing because I want to see them out on the track. It has to be extreme, I know, but just some sort of racing-based event. It should. It has 8 events, right? So it should be. I'm hoping to see that because
6 events.
6.
Oh, was it 5? I think it was 5.
Really? Is it only 5? That's not good.
I think so.
But I'm hoping to see something racing based out there. Anyway, I'll go to the second email unless JM, you have thoughts on this.
No, I hope to get to see Noxious Ivy in other events because they're that we've covered it. But outside of that, I agree with everything that's been stated.
Great. All right.
Okay.
So we have one more email from Richard Hinckley. Yell as Marble League rankings redone. All caps on the subject, by the way. Thanks, Richard. He says, I redid the team ranking. Oh, by the way, remember, this is backstory. We had Richard on for an episode that I really had fun with, but the listeners, it was a little bit repetitive, I guess, where we kind of went through and established the total ranking overall of all the teams of JMR. And so he always kind of adjusts those rankings here and there and sends them in so we can kind of keep tabs on it. But he says, I redid the team rankings by adding in the tournament factor, where before all tournaments were worth the same value. All Marble League tournaments are given an event value of 16 except Marble League 16, which is 12. Marbula 1 is worth 8 and Marbula 2 Marbula 2 is worth 12. I don't agree with that, by the way. Okay. Marble Winter Special is worth 5 points and the Amazing Marble Race is worth 1. Stop with the Amazing... I'm done. No. Stop with the Amazing Marble Race. Just... Oh, God. Waff. Do I even have to say it? Do I have to say it? Stop. The Amazing Marble Race doesn't exist. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. God, that's my least favorite thing to read ever. I mean, Waff, I'm not wrong here, right? Come on. Why is that? That's like, okay, every time someone makes an overall rankings in Marble League, there's like this crazy huge argument on like the Amazing Marble Race, this like one-off thing from like literally 1900 that's like debated whether this should be
like 1900.
I don't know, it was a long time ago. We should put in the rankings, and like people, it's like a big deal, like this is a huge deal to people. I don't get it. No, just enough with the Amazing Marble Race. It just doesn't matter. And it's like, what's the point in this thing? Whatever. But listen, whatever. And the average is total score divided by the event factor. I mean, the rankings kind of stay similar. Savage Beaters at the top, then Hazers, Rangers, Raspberry Racers, Crazy Cat's Eyes in the top 5. Your bottom, of course, being like Turtle Slider, Solar Flare, Team Plasma, Quicksilvers, Golden Orbs. The bad teams. You know, we have like something like the Gliding Glaciers in the middle, Team Galactic around 11, Momo's in 10, Oceanics 13, Green Ducks and Mellow Yellow 6
Momo's
and
tied
7.
with the Thunderbolts, it seems.
Oh yeah, he is. So 9.
Well, he ranked it by the average score, not the total score, because like Thunderbolts and Momo have a higher total score than Midnight Wisps. Heck, they even like
average.
I see.
It's by average because of all the event weights that I just read off.
Yeah, okay, so the lower score actually seems to be better because Savage Beaters have 434, whereas Jawbreakers in 26 have 1,294. So I guess it's ordered just by the average.
Yeah, basically. Because like different teams competed different amount of times and in different events, so yeah.
Right.
I don't agree with this already though, because I don't know why Marbula 1 would be worth 8, but Season 2 would be worth 12. I know Season 2 had more races, but it's so weird to me that you're giving
it's like
Season 2 more weight.
The level of competition went up.
Well,
and it's also more recent. It's like more recent like events are considered to be more of an indication of current strengths and skills of an athlete, whereas older ones are not. So they're weighed more than past stuff.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily like that because you're looking at overall performance, so it's weird to me because like it does skew the average when you weigh Marbula. Because what you're saying when you weigh the average differently for Season 1, you're just saying Season 1 was almost less important. Even I know it had less races, but I don't know if it should be less important because you're taking all the total points and then dividing them instead of, so it's like you're not doing like weights beforehand. I don't know. I think it's weird that Season 1 is worth 8. Like, why would you not just have a weighting for Marbula 1 across all seasons? Just a separate, just Marbula 1 rating.
I guess it depends on what your goal with it is. Like, if you're looking at just like seeing what their overall like score and performance has been, then yeah, you're right. But I feel like Richard might be doing something more similar to what you would do for trying to predict the current skill level of the competitors and basically kind of help you to predict who to root for or to put on your fantasy team for the next season.
Fair enough. I don't know. I think the weightings are like if I was doing this, I would just take Marble League and that would be a weight. All of the Marble League points from wherever would just be its own weight, and then all the Marbula 1 points would just be its own weight, and then I would definitely not include the amazing marble race, because
the
doing
amazing marble race is my favorite.
Well, you also like salted chocolate, so we're not really starting with a good baseline here, JM. No, I'm just kidding. But and then the winter special, I don't know. It just seems odd to me. But I mean, you still get similar rankings actually to the other time where we had different weightings, and Savage Speeder's still up there, Cat's still up there. You know the teams at this point that are pretty good. Thanks for the email, Richard. That brings us to unless anyone has comments about that brings us to the next segment here, where we want to talk actual domino bowling, which was I found it really good, and I really, really liked this event. And I also want to point out that there was a point, I forget what episode but there was a point where we talked about cool ideas for events, and we'd actually talked about bowling. I think I brought it up. I was like, bowling would be cool, and you could like use a team of 2 marbles and do like, because in bowling you get 2 bowls per set of pins, and you could do that. And lo and behold, they're doing that, which I really enjoyed. So I have to like it, because I didn't have this exact idea where it's with the exact point values or whatever they did, but I had this similar idea, and so I'm really happy to actually see it. I kind of thought more of like an actual 10-pin bowling with little pins and like strikes and spares, and not like dominoes, but it still works in this case. So,
but then it would just be normal bowling. It's gotta be extreme.
Yeah. No, I mean, God, the loop-de-loop at the beginning is actually great.
Dude, I didn't see that loop-de-loop coming. I saw it, I was like, oh, we're doing this. Okay.
Oh, it was amazing. So Domino Bowling, opening the floor to you guys, and also when you talk, give your rating out of 10, as we usually do with a new event.
JM, you want to start us off?
Sure. I think it was a 6 or 7 out of 10. I really like team-based marble events more than the solo ones, which is why it drives it down a little. I also didn't like that. I don't know. I was kind of the first run gutters made me sad for the individual teams, because it's like, oh well, I guess we just start this off on a 0 now. I don't know. I like maybe they could have put like gutters or something instead of just having like bumpers up for the competitors. I don't know. Outside of that, I really enjoyed it.
It's a good point. I guess like a discussion point more, because there's just pros and cons for both. But to put bumpers up to like ensure marbles get to stay in the arena and not have to take the gutter ball, because I mean, getting a gutter ball, obviously, like having that possibility really demands control on the racer, which is nice, and it's very unforgiving. If you get a 0, then you're pretty much totally not going to win. Because like even if you don't knock that many down, if both your marbles get to knock some stuff down, you're going to have a decent score. But if just one of you gets in there, it's just not happening.
But they already had a punishment with the negative dominoes, the -5 for the blacks. It was just confusing for me, because like if you're going to put up negative dominoes on each side of the pyramid, then to my mind you should put up walls to prevent gutters, and then you get punished for knocking down the -5s, or you have the whole pyramid with points totals on it and you don't put up the bumpers.
That's fair. I would say that I like the negative dominoes because it really demands straight down the middle control, which is important for just as a marble skill. But I would say I agree with you, but I think that the gutters should be possible but harder to access, if that makes sense. I don't know, maybe bumpers only half the way or something like that. Just something where there's still the possibility that if you're really bad, then you really get punished for it. But like maybe bumpers on the second half of the lane. So if you get that far, you can get help from a bumper, something like that. Or just maybe maybe widen the lane a little bit just so that gutters are harder to hit, because I think gutters are, first of all, goes with the bowling theme, but it's also like it does kind of force you to have some semblance and control. So I think, I don't know, but maybe a little harder to reach gutters, because man, the ball's a chaos. I mean, clutter ball, man.
Oh man,
it was bad. And it seemed like it was very easy to kind of stray over towards the gutters as well.
It's the first negative score since Team Primary in 2017, right? With like one of those events.
Yeah, that is some trivia. We would need Super Yak for that one.
Man.
Yeah, but it's been a while. Anyway, JM, out of 10.
I think it's 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Probably settle on a 6.5.
That's fair. Okay. That's fair.
Oh, really, really quickly, I'd like to see somebody experiment with different launch systems for these marble events, because I always see they're almost Hot Wheels tracks, right? I'd like to see somebody try like a piece of PVC for launching that fits the diameter of the marbles, and then you glue them all together 4 wide, and then have the marbles launch down that for like half the ramp, and then have the like Hot Wheels stuff, because it feels like some marbles get off just to a really poor start by bouncing around right off from the gate, and like chaos is good.
Chaos Theory, episode 10.
but I'd also like to see like more early balance to make sure that the competitors all get off to the same start, and then have the chaos come in, if that makes any sense.
No, I get you, and I guess another idea is like, I know they have some of those like toy tracks like for like Hoobalino that are like designed to run with marbles. I think those ones are a bit too small, I think, for the ones that they use, but maybe if they have big enough ones, they could like take one track, put another one on top of it, and glue it together, and they might be able to fit through smooth enough to where it could be the same thing as your idea.
Yeah.
I would tend to agree. I think that the biggest, and this goes across toy racing as a whole. I'm talking Hot Wheels, marbles, whatever the hell M&H does. No idea. It's just not anything. It's really nothing. But across toy racing, the biggest like problem that I guess toys, if you want to look from their perspective, run into when it comes to racing, or just having to fall down a ramp at started like a gate and fall down a ramp, is getting out of the gate and getting out of the starting area, whatever you want to call it. And so if you in JM's case, that's a great idea, or something that makes it very, very consistent for that first few lengths as they pick up speed and find their control and position, and then have it open up afterwards. That's fine, because then it demands more fairly to have control, as opposed to just because when you have that gate, you have all that contact, all that starting contact, and the gate lifts open, and then the marble can just go any direction. And especially with like a Hot Wheels car, there's so much like wobbling and hesitation out of that. It's just nice. It would be nice to have something that keeps that very consistent. Because the gates are always where the most, because really, especially in like something like 5-minute sprint, races are won and lost in the gates, right? Because if you watch, go watch event of 5-minute sprint, you'll see marbles like literally just for whatever reason be stuck for a second after the gate lifts up. You'll see marbles turn right, left, spin after the gate lifts up, and that really just decides how the rest of the race is going to go. So obviously the real next level, just futuristic marble sports would have some sort of gate that the marble is held in something that's not even where nothing's really even touching it, it's just held suspended in air or whatever, which would be crazy. Listen, futuristic, it doesn't matter how it works. But to try to reduce that, especially when you have to fall down a really fast ramp and go into a larger track, you need something that kind of keeps that consistent. So I would definitely tend to agree with that. Well, Rating,
For me,
negative?
I feel like it's hard for me to say how I would. Like I don't have much to add to what you're talking about, so I'm just gonna go on to my thoughts on the bowling. I feel like I'm a bit biased here because, like, one, like I'm a bowler, so I was kind of like aside for this, but also not sure how they're gonna do it. So I go in and I see the thumbnail. It's like, oh, there's a bunch of dominoes and there's way more than 10. So I guess we're doing 100 pin bowling here. All right. Then when I start the video, I see the loop to loop. It's like, huh? And then there's the ramp off onto the next section. And it's like, what? And then it's like, oh, the dominoes are worth points. And there's also negative ones. It's like, this is more than I ever thought it was going to be. And I'm honestly super excited for it. Like, I love the how high they jump out of the loop to loop. They
really cool.
like, it's like, it's so satisfying. I guess the main negative would be like some of it was kind of disappointing seeing a gutter so early on in the first run, and I felt like the halftime show, like stop motion, wasn't as interesting to watch as the previous event, so it's maybe one downside. But with all the negatives, I think maybe an 8 out of 10 for me. Like, but I do recognize that I'm very biased.
Yeah.
I actually just saw there on the launch point there. They are kind of doing what your idea was, JM. Like, it had like it's not the same diameter as it, but like there is a plastic shielding that keeps them in. So they're almost kind of doing your idea, but there's not the right diameter.
Reminds me of the this is a shot in the dark for a lot of people, but there's a water park slide thing where you go in water, and it's called Vanish Point, and basically the ride looks like that. You stand in this tube, and then the floor just drops away, and then you go like down this tube, like it's just you because it's like a water slide, and it's kind of scary actually. I went on it. It was like in Busch Gardens or something.
I've ridden in one of those before.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's how it reminds me of the starting gate here. Kind of, not quite, but kind of. But yeah, no, they still use the Hot Wheels track. They just had the tube to keep marbles from falling away, but. Yeah, something narrower might be nice. One other correction. So my rating for this is a 9 out of 10 again, which I think is what I gave the last one, because again, this is just amazing. Like this is the kind of stuff I've wanted to see. I want this in Marble League. Like I've talked about this. We talked about this ad nauseum in the last couple of years. I want this stuff sprinkled into Marble League, because imagine Marble League got 5-meter sprint, you got relay, you got hurdles, which is just 5-meter sprint with. I mean, until this year, it was just 5-meter sprint with like whatever, like going through a car wash kind of. But then to like have like a break where you have like bowling or like the kind of diving they did in the first event. I mean, that would just be so cool. That would take Marble League to a really unpredictable, chaotic, extreme level. But at least being able to see it in some tournament is really nice. But yeah, this is a 9 out of 10. I love this event. The 1 point off is for this reason. So there is a couple times, and I think it's later on here in the video. There's a couple times where a marble hits the front domino, and so the front middle domino. So like the top of that pyramid. Now, if a marble hits the front top of the domino, what should happen, what was supposed to happen, is that whole front row is supposed to fall over, because. I mean, that's how it was designed. It's like bowling. Everything's supposed to fall over behind it. It's like dominoes. That's what's supposed to happen. That's the reward for hitting the front domino. Now, that never happened. And the reason that never happened is that the marbles roll into the bottom of the dominoes, which means the dominoes actually fall the opposite way, at least like some of the time, and most of the time, actually. And it just happens to be if the marble can still kind of run through the row, it will still knock over a bunch, and sometimes it will teeter one over on a different line. You see like the one like just on the screen right now, it teetered one over on a different line and knocked a bunch over, but on the line it went through, all the dominoes fell back towards the marble, because the marble's hitting the bottom of it. So what I think needs to happen here is, and pretty much basically the same track, but they need to have a small ramp, like a very tiny ramp. So right in front of the pyramid. So as the marbles hit the dominoes, they're hitting the middle or top of them, which will cause the dominoes to actually fall back towards the back of the pyramid, and so actually hit the lines over. And so you're rewarded for staying in the middle, and you're going to have a lot higher scoring games, because dominoes are actually falling the way they're supposed to fall. It's a tiny thing. I could see why they would miss it, but that's gonna make a big difference, and that's gonna reward marbles who actually manage to stay in the middle and hit the pyramid. I think this is it right here. Rook, yeah, Noxious Ivy, boom. Your team actually, JM, hits the middle and knocks 3 over, and the rest of the row is not touched at all. And all of the marbles, if we wanna, this is great timing. Just as I finished this thought, the run came up. It's almost like I planned it. Look at Noxious Ivy. I just want to get this on the screen first, JM. So Noxious Ivy comes here to the front of the pyramid, knocks over those first 3. See how all of them fall backwards? They fall backwards towards the marble. That's like, it makes being accurate not as rewarding. So anyway, go ahead.
Right.
9 out of 10.
The other thing that they could do is they could I don't know if they're fabricating these dominoes themselves or if they're like buying them, right? But you could theoretically go out and get a 3D printing machine and fab your own dominoes to your own specifications, right? I when I was watching this event, I thought that the dominoes were too heavy for the marbles to knock over, so they could either make like lighter dominoes to make it easier for the marbles to knock them over, or they could balance them better, putting like more weight at the top to make them more easier to knock over, or like weight in the middle. Like if you have a domino that, I don't have anything square on my desk here. If you have a domino that's like this size, right?
His desk.
you can put like weight right here in the middle to make it fall down easier, but still have that like weighty domino. I don't know. You can play around with stuff like that to make the initial impact of the marble like matter more without. I've lost where I'm going with this.
No, I know what you're saying. The weighting is interesting, though I think the weighting still won't matter if the marble's hitting the bottom of the domino, because the center of mass of the domino, unless you weight the bottom, then it will just maybe impossible to knock over, is going to always be around the middle area. So it's always going to fall back.
Bowling pins, bowling pins aren't evenly weight distributed, right? And bowling balls at the bottom of them.
Yeah, and pins also often fall back towards the ball. It's just the ball is so heavy. If you notice this, like if you watch bowling, first of all, the pins are a lot smaller relative to the ball than the dominoes versus the marble. The dominoes are like twice as tall or more than the marble in this case. A bowling ball is like 2/3 the height of a bowling pin, and also the bowling ball doesn't rely. Okay, so on the lane a bowling ball goes through the pins, it doesn't rely on the pins knocking into each other. It relies on that for the pins on the side. The bowling ball is heavy enough that it just crashes right through that whole thing. So if the pins are there, it's knock it over. But the pins are usually knocked, and then the heads of the pins often fall sideways, or they fall towards the ball and then kind of slide. But like, because these marbles are against dominoes that are not like super light compared to the marble, then you have to rely more on things being knocked over themselves, like domino to domino. So you still, I don't know. So it's a little different than like actual bowling ball, where the bowling ball is way heavier than pin, so it just rams right through, especially with the speed people throw it. And so it doesn't even matter whether it hits the bottom, the top, or the middle. It doesn't, because the bowling ball is going to make that line right through. No one's ever bowled and then the ball like hits even when you bowl the ball as slow as possible, like when you do that thing in Wii Sports where you just bowl the ball as slow as possible to be that guy, like the ball never like stops. It's stopped by the pins and like on the platform, it doesn't get to the back. So yeah,
I'm trying to remember it depends on how fast a pin is rolling on the deck, but like as a mechanic I've seen it several times, like if the pin rolls at a specific speed, if it hits the bottom of the other one, it will fall in a similar pattern to a domino, kind of, but sometimes it also just falls on itself. So you are right in that sense. Like it does depend more on like the slickness of the deck, and also and also the ball being just the same size, like so much taller to launch them. But I think another idea, like instead of the ramp idea, like maybe the dominoes could be like the deck that the dominoes are on, or it could be at a lower elevation than so the marble is higher up when it hits the dominoes. That might be easier than putting a ramp in, to be more consistent too.
Wait, say again, because I think you might have just said what I was going to say too. Wait, so you're saying...
Yeah, so it's basically like the triangle shape here, that entire section is like maybe half an inch lower
That's
than
actually
everything
what
else in front of it.
I was going to say that too, because like then you don't have the inconsistency of the ramp, which could cause left to right movement. You just have the marble just go right over the top into there, and you're going to hit the dominoes from the top. And the marbles will also like burn through the dominoes a lot easier. I like that idea. I think, and then that will cause a lot of points and a lot of beautiful kind of knocking over of all the dominoes.
Right.
So no, yeah, I was.
Which is one of the favorite, which is the best parts of watching bowling is seeing them all fall over. So you can't. It's really hard to get that in the current version that it has.
Agreed.
And like I think that's something we kind of missed over. Like the distribution of points was ridiculous. Like the pinkies was it 143, and like the next one below was like 106.
Yeah, we're gonna actually jump to standings here, so we can talk standings for a second. Let's do that. Yeah. So if you want to talk about actual teams, and it's weird to talk about teams in this case because most of these teams are really new or just not really mentioned a lot usually. So we're not falling back on the usual savage speeders here, but yeah, we have teams. We have an interesting spread of points here. I mean, Balls of Chaos again coming in last place and not doing like well at all. They didn't do well in the diving either, so it was weird to see that. But yeah, definitely the spread of points. You went -8 to 150. I mean, that is easily, number wise, the largest range that we've ever seen of points in a marble sports event. Honestly, so. That might indicate, as JM was correcting too, that might indicate that there's too much room for like inconsistency and chaos, and like removing that gutter ball possibility and stuff like that would kind of narrow that. And I think the fixes we mentioned would be something that takes it from 150 to -8 and probably narrows it to something between 200 and like maybe 120. But it's quite a spread.
Yeah. I see we're now joined by JM's cat.
Ooh, crazy cat size.
Yeah. She's looking lonely down on the floor.
Did you name your cat after Crazy Cat's Eye?
I did not. Her name is Brenna.
Brenna Eye?
No, that was bad, Brendan.
That was really bad.
Thank you, Brendan. I appreciated that. Please continue.
Please continue. Let's come up with some other names.
I didn't mean to derail.
You're all good.
No, but yeah, also, you look at some of the new team. Noxious Ivy didn't do very well. But see, again, that's because of the mistake in the making of the event. Noxious Ivy, again, they were the only team to hit that middle line, and the dominoes, because of the way it was set up, the middle line didn't knock down, even though that's definitely what was intended. That's why the golden domino was in the middle at the back. Right. But, so Noxious Ivy should have done a lot better. But... yeah, like, the new teams are holding their own. I'm not... It's hard to make judgments this early, 2 events into something where there's not the best of the old teams in here. But I can just tell you, I'm not noticing a difference. Like, I'm not, noticing, wow, these are the new teams, and they're all placing here. And then these are the not new teams, and they're all placing here. So, that's just a good thing. They're blending into the pack really well. Even in the spread of points, you got teams all over the place. So it's usually a negative sign when the pinkies is at the top of your standings. That's usually a sign that you don't have the best group of teams. But, still everyone's looking like, at least in this case, that there's no standout bad team. Besides Balls of Chaos. Honestly, Balls of Chaos seems like the worst team out there. Let's look at real standings here. And Balls of Chaos is down in 6th place with 4 points. Shining Swarm also doing pretty bad with last place. So, that's a big difference from 16 and the Constrictors. So, pointing that out.
Yeah.
Anyway, to you guys, I want to ask you guys as we begin to move towards the end of the show here. Do you have a favorite couple of the new teams? Do you have a favorite couple of just this group of 8 that you're like, either I just really like that team, or just I really think that team has a lot of potential coming into like future Marble tournaments, future of Marble ManiaX, and maybe even Marble League.
I mean, I'm liking Noxious Ivy for the same reasons that JM mentioned, but I'm liking the Blackjacks because I want they're a returning team. I want to see returning teams do well. It's kind of like a redemption arc. You always love the underdog, and if more returning teams do good, that means the more chances for other retired teams to return. And Purple Rockets, I'm so iffy on. I really don't like their name, to be honest. It feels kind of misplaced. It doesn't feel like it fits the rest. But I do appreciate a lore team finally making it in. I don't know if this is the first one that's made it in, but I do like having more of the extended lore becoming a part of it. Though I'm not sure. So the Purple Rockets were actually included. One of the JMA members used the Purple Rockets in one of their own competitions. So I'm not sure if it made it in because Yellow and Dion they were acknowledging Marble Earth lore, or if they were just bringing them in because one of the JMA members wanted them in because they use them in competition.
I don't know.
I'm going deep on Marble lore, huh?
I think.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because I was at the meet and greet, as you know, and it just seems Gel really likes the Purple Rockets for some reason. I don't know why, but he just really likes that team. So I think he just wanted it in, and like I said, I don't also love the name, but I mean, if that's what he wants, that's what he wants. It's Gel. So it's just I've just gotten that vibe. It didn't need to, but he just really likes it. So yeah.
Did you guys ever play the backyard sports games like backyard soccer, backyard baseball?
No, I've not.
Those kinds?
Oh yeah, no, I did.
The Purple Rockets feel like a name and a logo that belongs in one of those backyard games, and I absolutely love it.
Okay, that's fair.
I can see that.
I could see that. Even not playing the games, I get a sense of what they might be. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Almost like a Sandlot type team. Yeah. For me, standouts for me, I mean, besides the Constrictors who are winning, I mean, that's always an easy standout. I think Noxious Ivy is a lot better than their points are letting on. I think most of Noxious Ivy's failure so far has been because these events were not designed perfectly. I mean, it makes sense they were the first time. But remember, we talked about the problem with diving and the marbles kind of all bunching up. And then this time, obviously, I mean, Noxious Ivy went right down the middle. If you go right down the middle of this bowling thing, you should get a lot of points. And they got 4. So I think there's a lot of potential with that team as far as just in general athletic ability. So I definitely would see myself noticing that team if they were in a qualifiers, or if I was thinking of a dark horse fantasy pick, something like that. It's hard. I mean, Shining Swarm, I'm unnoticing because, I mean, come on. I mean, really, 3 points as a team that's done a lot of Marble stuff. I mean, what are we doing? And Balls of Chaos, again, it's hard to really tell why they're doing so bad, but these host curse, enough of that. I don't even believe in that, but I mean, someone's got to explain it. But also,
I almost forgot to mention this,
but also again, like Waff said, the Blackjacks. No, I just wanted to finish it. So Blackjacks, they've been solid, and they have competed before. So I definitely want to see what they bring in coming events, especially I think we got something with funnels coming up next, and that's big. That's a big core skill of Marble Sports. So definitely my eyes will be on Blackjacks and Noxious Ivy for those.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I almost forgot to mention this, but on Twitter, the official JMR Twitter, mentioned thank you so much for your positive feedback on comments for event 2 of ManiaX. We share your request to add this event to Marble League, so it seems like
thanks. That'll be great.
And even the JMA apparently also wanted to. So if you it seems like this is gonna be a Marble League event, whether or not it's gonna be the same level of extreme, or if they're gonna tone it down to keep this one unique. I'm not sure, but apparently bowling might make its way into Marble League 2022.
Listen, all I'm saying,
if they
Jam, you go.
I was just gonna say if they do tone it down, I hope that they I don't know actually. I was gonna say I hope that they keep the ramp, but they get rid of the loop to loop. But because I feel like they added that in for the extreme
Right.
tag that they have. I don't know. They're both really unique. I like both of them. I don't know which one I'd want to get rid of.
And then, so maybe in that case, you have to get rid of both.
Yeah, and just have it be straight bowling.
Because this is Marble League, so.
Yeah.
And it has to, if you're going to have this event in both tournaments, then it's got to be different. And honestly, they need to make it different. I mean, I love this event and want to see it in Marble League, but I'll be 100% upset if this is in Marble League. That's really, wait 1 second.
Feels like there's conflicting statements there. I want this in Marble League, but I'll hate it if it's in Marble League.
I want this in Marble League, but if this current form is in Marble League, I'll hate it. Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry. My dad just came in. Again, my family just doesn't. They don't know what podcasting is. They don't. That's not a word to them. And like I said last time, whatever he just said just totally doesn't matter for this minute. Like it could have waited 5-10 minutes, whatever. Yeah. So because if this exact event, I think I heard Jam say this basically. If this exact event is in Marble League, then it would be bad because it wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't match Marble League, and also it would take away from this being an extreme event and fitting in Marble ManiaX. So they need to change it. They can't just do this, but take away the loop and the jump, because then it's like two of the same event in two different tournaments. They need to do something different, like literally do something different with the scoring or with the amount of pins, something like that, or maybe run two marbles at the same time. I don't know. Just do something different where it's like, okay, this is Marble League bowling, this is ManiaX bowling, and wow, we can actually differentiate them relatively easy. So, that's a big deal for that. I had something else I wanted to say.
We're running low on time, so maybe we should.
Yeah.
We should maybe move on to MassMarb before we run out of time.
NASMARB, I'm starting.
Did you watch NASMARB?
I tried, guys. I really tried.
Talk about it, please. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it has the beginnings of being something really good and really interesting, but the production quality is just so high on JMR, and even what was that channel you used to work for? Fubica.
Because
even their production value was the tracks were nice to look at. It's a guy really trying in his base or in his garage, but I just it's and I like the idea of marbles and die-cast cars. It's not visually interesting enough for me to be able to sit down and pay attention to, especially when those die-cast cars get sideways going through a corner and there's just one of them on the track. I would like two side-by-side tracks at the same time for heats, or I don't know. I couldn't do it visually.
I mean,
no, I get you.
I think this is just a prime first-hand example to me of something, again, that we've talked about before, how important, or even more important in the case of marble sports, that all the stuff around the actual action is important to the video. So in a lot of things, in a lot of sports with people, it doesn't really matter how things look around it. It's just focused on the sport, the action. But in marble sports, it's as important that everything looks good around it, everything's smooth around it, as what's going on to suck a viewer in, to hook them in. And as James just said, it applies here because honestly, if JMR did marbles in cars, I mean, I can't believe I said that out loud. Then it'd be nuts. It'd be absolutely nuts. People would gotta keep this podcast PG again. I try to. So, people would just go nuts, all right? over that. They'd be like, I can't believe this exists. And because JMR would also make it look nice around the track and everything. So, I mean, I'm just pointing out that that's a big deal. And that's why when I'm talking to the racing good example. I work with the Racing Marble League, smaller channel, getting going, and he has of course more ability to make things look nice in his studio than like Hershey does with NASMARB. But that's why like a lot of the times I've spoken with him, I've stressed things about camera work. I've stressed things about lighting. I've stressed things about what the decoration is and how the tractors like, because to keep people watching for a long time, it needs to look good around. So just pointing that out. Again, this is why small channels struggle, because small channels usually have trouble making it look professional. And then people are like, I just can't watch this thing when I see just that bucket of half-used paint on the side of the track and then the garage door with like cuts in it for some reason. Like just can't watch it when there's all that just looking like visual around it. So I totally understand that. Anyway.
Something I know this isn't like the place for valid criticism or for criticisms, right? But like if the NASMARB guy added just like crowdsourced crowd noises to his videos, or like I don't know, engine noises or something at the start of each heat, it would make things at least more interesting for my ears, even if they're not interesting for my eyes.
I tend to agree. Yeah.
That's something I really noticed with JMR is they bring you in to making the illusion that this is a sporting event with the crowd noises and the different like camera shots of everything, right? So if you don't have the time or the resources to make things look interesting, at least try to like go out and make it visually interesting.
And here's
or auditorial
interesting. Here's a little marble. We have Marble Chaos Theory. We'll call this marble creating theory or whatever. Maybe there's a better name for it. But the reason, okay, so when you make marble sports, and even if you have a low budget and a low amount of whatever, do whatever you can. I just hit play and started this video. Do whatever you can to make the marble sports video match as many characteristics as a real sport as possible. So the crowd noise. The crowd noise is like literally it's very simple to add, but it makes people, it connects people to like when they turn on the radio in the car and they're listening to a game. Because every time, because I'm a big radio sports listener, and this also applies to TV sports with the crowd noise, but every time I turn on the radio especially, the first thing I hear, unless the announcer's like going crazy at that particular moment, is I always hear, I turn on the game, and it's always like, just the crowd noise as like between breaks of the announcer speaking. And that just makes, you just know, like if you're flipping through radio channels and you just hear that particular noise, you know there's a game on and it's not like talk radio on that channel. Like you hear the noise in the background. You hear the random music playing in and out. You hear like the cheering and like the people banging drums or whatever. So like that is a big signal to someone that it's a game, a sports competition going on, especially on the radio, also on TV. And so just putting that in your video kind of connects people, I guess even subconsciously, to the fact that it's like a professional sport or like a big sport, crowd sport, whatever. So that's like one of the things, but in as many ways as possible, you want to match the small characteristics of that. Again, the camera angles the JMR puts where they kind of pan around. That reminds people of the fact that often in like, if you watch a football game, they'll have the aerial shot, they'll have the ground shots, they'll have a lot of different shots of the cameras, and it'll kind of make you think of that, which bring people in because they're like, wow, I really like watching this, and this is reminding me of this, so I'm drawn in by it. So, and that's why the commentary was so big. Because that turned people from something on YouTube to then reminding them of something they watched on TV on ESPN. And that's why, I don't know, commentary has been so big for these toy racing things. Because it's just bringing more and more signals that this is very similar to something you see on sports TV. So, little marble sports creating theory right there. But I think that holds up pretty well.
Yeah, It's definitely something that maybe you'd be interested in, JM, is a channel called 3D Bot Maker. It's a diecast racing channel. Like, it has basically everything that you just asked for and more. So like that might be something you're interested in. Like in regards to
races and no 3D Bot Maker, races and fun. That's where it's at.
Races, I'm unsure to do that too, but like I'm just listing the most popular one. But for the whole, like, I guess for the points about the crowd noises, in a past series called Marble Mayhem, like they added crowd noises, but then they actually got complaints about it. So I think ever since then, Hershey has just deigned not to use it because he just got negative feedback for using it. So I think that's why that's not here. For engine sounds, depends on how detailed you want to get with it. Like if you do what 3D Bot Maker does, like that's a very time consuming effort. So I'm not sure, like that's something that would definitely improve it, I would say. I just don't know how, if you had the time for it. And as mentioned in our live chat, like there were plans to do this season in a studio, but it just didn't work out. The plans just did not pan out, and so unfortunately, it's just not going to look as good as it could have been. But them's the breaks, and like that's just the weakness of having such a very high monetarily successful series like JMR that can look exceptional, and then you have to go to something else. Like it makes it look worse than it just by comparison, and it makes it hard to get into other stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like I might have sounded unduly harsh with my criticism of the NASMARB guy. He's creating something which is honestly more than what I'm doing. Big props to him. It's something that I noticed when I watched it, you know.
Oh yeah, and that's worth pointing out. And it's just again why Marble Sports has been so hard for small creators to get into, and why JMR really stands alone kind of still, because it's just there's so many little things you need to be aware of when creating Marble Sports that are so time consuming to add. But if you don't have them, people are like, I can't watch this, especially after seeing something as good as JMR. So that goes for probably a lot more people than just yourself, which is why NASMARB is not pulling in the views that other Marble Sports channels are. But those are fair criticisms. But yeah, we are running out of time. So we are going to wrap it here. Thank you, JM, for coming on. It's always
thanks for having me, guys. This is always fun.
It was great to have you back on the show again.
Yeah. And again, Marble ManiaX has been really, really, really awesome to see. I don't know who's behind this. Maybe it is Dion this time coming up with the ideas. I'm loving it. So I'm excited to see where it goes, what the other events are. And I mean, hey, we're gonna have a busy next few months coming up too, because I think we're getting San Rally, Marbula 1, and of course Marble League starting in probably mid-spring. So lots of marbles coming. I'm very excited for this. But that'll do it, Waff. Take us out whenever you're ready.
All right, then. Roll on, Marble Sports fans.